Hello, good evening. Welcome to Camnet Television Main News. My name is Jeffrey Siambo to present it. Our top stories in the news tonight. Miners at KCM's #1 shaft who were sent on forced leave call for government's intervention. Opposition PF members of parliament demanded the resignation of the second speaker of the National Assembly for incompetence. Government refutes claims it will lift former President EDGAR LUNGU'S immunity. In international news, Senegal declines to lift TikTok ban. And in sports news, FAS hands over 12,000 balls to the Ministry of Education.
Live your dream today by playing Nawina Lotto and stand a chance to win up to 2,000 kwacha every day.
And in order to play Zambia's most trusted lottery, first make sure you have money in your mobile money account.
In order to stand a chance to win, you need to follow these steps. Step number 1, dial *388*6#. Step number 2, select option 1 to buy your ticket. Step number 3, select option 5, which is Camnet. Step number 4, buy 1 ticket for 5 kwacha, 2 tickets for 10 kwacha, or 10 tickets for 50 kwacha. Number 5, enter your mobile PIN to confirm your purchase.
After buying your ticket, you will be entered into the day's draw and a unique code will be sent to you via SMS.
Draws will be done every day right here on Camnet TV, and the winners will be announced right here on Camnet TV every day at 19 hours. Remember, the more tickets you buy, the higher chances of winning. Get busy, Iwe!
Hello again, the news in detail. Some employees of KCM'S at Konkola Copper Mine KCM #1 shaft in Chidalawombwe district on the Copperbelt province, who were last month sent on forced leave, have pleaded with government to help them save their jobs. The miners who gathered in the district Friday say life has become unbearable for them as they have been sent on forced leave without paying them their salaries and without communicating to them on the way forward. And raising a red flag over the occurrence, Mufolira resident Geoffrey Luchele says KCM'S, a major contractor at KCM, has stopped production following the return of Vedanta, demanding payment of more than $30 million US in arrears before resuming production. Mr. Luchele, who is also a former aspiring candidate for Mufolira, has called on government to quickly intervene and save the jobs of the miners who are in anguish following the verbal forced leave. More in this report.
I must say that as miners, we are so happy about the coming of Vendetta. And we are so happy about the steps that government has taken to resolve this issue concerning KCM. And we can only appeal that this issue to do with JSHX and KCM is resolved fast to save the miners who are not working, who are on forced leave. It's with the understanding that what has led JSHX to lay people off, to put them on forced leave, is because of the money that is claiming from Vendetta, amounting to over $30 million US. We are expecting the government to say to Vendetta so that it can release the $250 million, which is supposed to go to the contractors and the suppliers. And if that money can be released fast and see how best they can pay this company and see that the miners goes back to work, it will save us. And that's why we are appealing to the Honorable Minister, Paul Kabuswe, and our able President, Akainde Echilema, to see that this issue is addressed. Miners, they are suffering, and the level of unemployment is just too high to allow more miners to be just loafing in the community. We need to see how best we can work together, find time to come and address the issues that the miners are facing. It's the government's responsibility to see that this issue is addressed. The cost of living is really high. KCM's value has reduced, and because of the floodings that will now be coming because miners are not working, it will continue affecting the mine and the production.
Residents of Kamwala in Lusaka have continued to experience erratic water supply, despite the Lusaka Water and Sanitation Company assuring that water will be made available at specific times. The residents have challenged Lusaka Water to live up to their promise and distribute the water equally to ensure that all the places receive the commodity even for a limited time. Meanwhile, Kamala Ward 5 Councillor Mainda Simata says he has engaged the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU, multiple times to provide water for his residents, but to no avail. But when contacted, Lusaka District Commissioner, who also chairs the Lusaka Disaster Management Committee, expressed ignorance over Mr. Simata's complaint. More in this report.
The water crisis continues to batter residents in some parts of Lusaka following the shutdown of Yolanda 1 water treatment plant in Kafue and main transmission pipeline to Lusaka for repair works. In some parts of Kamwala, residents say the crisis has affected their daily living and want an alternative solution. Meanwhile, Kamwala Ward 5 Councillor Mainda Simata says the water crisis in his ward need urgent attention as there are already reports of disease outbreak.
Many households, about 80% of households, have had no water for the past 2 weeks. This kind of situation has now caused a scenario where some schools, private schools, are closing down because they lack water. Most of them don't have tank stands. We even have an issue where we need to supply emergency water to the clinics and also to the markets. But we only have one water bowser which we are using for Lusaka water, which is insufficient to cope with the demand. In fact, there are reports of sporadic outbreaks of typhoid. So we don't want the situation to escalate to where we start losing lives.
Mr. Simata further says he has engaged the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU, multiple times to come to the aid of the affected residents, but to no avail.
DMMU, being mandated to be an institution that should intervene in times of crisis, must pull up its socks and perform its role. As a councillor, I've done my part in engaging them. I've engaged almost 3 people or 3 officers within the institution, and I haven't gotten any feedback. And this is of concern because the people that I'm representing in my ward are looking up to me to be able to engage various stakeholders, including DMMU, to intervene in this situation. So I'm appealing once again that DMMU must come on board and assist the people of Kamwala in ensuring to say that the resources are made available.
But when contacted, Lusaka District Commissioner Rosa Zulu, who also chairs the Lusaka District Disaster Management Committee, expressed ignorance over Mr. Simata's complaint.
I don't know anything. You are just telling me now. No one has called me and to tell me. What I know is that there was a group of people from, is it in Libala, wanted water, and the water was provided by water and whatever. They wanted DMMU, but we informed it, water and sewerage ministries, and then they are working with council. They are taking some thousands, but I don't know where. I'll follow it up.
The pipeline, known as Yolanda 1, which was commissioned in 1970, is finally undergoing repair works, years after engineers noticed a sound under the concrete in 2019, but seemingly were unconcerned, and citizens are now facing the consequences. Vincent Piri, Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
The Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development has dispelled assertions that the Constituency Development Fund, CDF, was not audited in the 2022 Auditor General's report. Permanent Secretary in charge of Administration, Mambo Hamaundu, says the Constituency Development Fund for 2022 was audited but not included in the 2022 Auditor General's report because no irregularities were found. The Permanent Secretary also says CDF audits are currently underway, and once the findings are concluded, it will be made available to the public. More in this report.
With increase of the Constituency Development Fund CDF in the 2024 national budget to 30.6 million kwacha, calls from stakeholders have been to strengthen the monitoring mechanisms and audits for the empowerment program. Thursday, 5th October 2023, Opposition Economic Freedom Fighters President Kasonde Mwenda alleged that the Constituency Development Fund was not audited. Mr. Mwenda alleged that the CDF was not audited because the current administration is benefiting from it.
The blatant omission of the CDF report is unjustified, illegal, and it is not sanctioned or backed by any law in this great Republic of Zambia. The Auditor General has no power to choose not to report on public expenditure.
But the Permanent Secretary in charge of administration at the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, Mambo Hamaundu, explains that CDF was audited without being included in the Auditor General report.
So it is not true at all that CDF is not being audited. CDF is being audited, and it will continue being audited each and every year because these are public resources. And what is also important to note is that from a ministry point of view, the component of CDF was audited. And the reason there's nothing in the report is because I'm sure that there was nothing irregular which was found.
The Permanent Secretary also discloses that currently there is an ongoing audit on the utilization of the funds to various constituencies, and once done, the findings will be made public.
Being audited is on the implementation side, and the implementing agencies are the local authorities. So whenever we've got challenges or doubts or we do not know what is happening, we are better off asking as opposed to creating unnecessary anxiety in the minds of the people. Let us all be focused on ensuring that we deliver and deliver for the country.
Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Opposition Patriotic Front members of Parliament have challenged the second Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Moyo, to resign from his position on alleged incompetence. Leader of Opposition in Parliament, Brian Mundubile, says the conduct of the second Deputy Speaker is leading to the shrinking decorum of the National Assembly. In his address to the media Friday, shortly after Parliament proceedings, Mundubile alleges that opposition members of Parliament are being disrespected during parliamentary proceedings. More in this report.
We can't allow this. This is a house of order. I am ready to face the consequences on behalf of my members. I cannot continue.
Sergeant at Arms, ensure that the leader of opposition is out of the house.
Agitated Opposition Patriotic Front members of Parliament have alleged ill treatment during parliamentary proceedings at the National Assembly. Leader of Opposition members of Parliament, Brian Mundubile, alleges that the second Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Moyo.
So for me, I'm saying the moment you ignore the standing orders, like our presiding officers have been doing, standing orders are attached. You can't rely on them. From the time we opened this parliament, there's been over 1,000 urgent matters of public importance. I think 5 only have been admitted. And because the speaker, whoever was presiding that day, liked what was being talked about. So we can't live like that. We are saying, as your representatives, we are making one statement that the abuse in the House, mark this day, this be the last day. We've drawn our lines. We will fight in that House until those that are managing that House can align themselves and begin to behave in conformity with our standing order.
Unti and Kamfinsa members of Parliament have maintained that the 2024 budget is defective because it does not meet the expectations of many citizens.
Do this because domestically, the minister has stated in no uncertain terms that he's going to borrow 83.2 billion. And then out of this borrowing, he's going to settle some maturities, and the remaining amount of 16.3 is what he has reported in his budget as the net borrowing. Now that means he has deliberately understated the expenditure for 2024 by 66.8 billion.
Is that we cannot allow political space in Parliament to shrink. If people are not allowed to exercise their rights outside Parliament, if the police are using the Public Order Act, for instance, to prevent political parties from holding rallies, I don't think that should extend to the People's Parliament.
Meanwhile, Lukasha Member of Parliament George Chisanga has charged that the reinstatement of Vedata mineral resources at Konkola Copper Mines will not yield any benefits. Mr. Chisanga argues that Vedata mineral resources is bankrupt to superintend over the affairs of KCM.
What Vedanta Resources is doing is repeating exactly what they did in 2005. They came here and lied to the MMD government, and they put $25 million down, and they were given that mine. They ran that mine for some time and generated huge profits. You know, huge profits that made them even repay that debt within record time. And then they started living a life of declaring only losses for the whole period that they were mining at KCM. And for them to come back today, and for them to get into a transaction between themselves and the government, which government has no decency to disclose.
Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Government has disclosed that it has no intentions of lifting former President Edgar Lungu's immunity because it does not believe in the notion. Minister of Information and Media, Cornelius Mwetwa, who dispelled assertions that the former president is being victimized by way of the first family facing court cases, speaking during a media briefing in Lusaka Friday, Mr. Mwetwa has also expressed government's readiness to dialogue with the opposition political parties in the country. Here's a report.
Few days ago, some ruling United Party for National Development youths called for the lifting of former President Edgar Lungu's immunity. The government says it has no intention of lifting the immunity for the former president. Addressing the media Friday, Minister of Information and Media Cornelius Mwetwa, however, says the former first family is not immune. Therefore, when close relatives to the former president are being investigated, it should not amount to persecuting former President Lungu.
That President Edgar Chagwa Lungu, former president of the Republic of Zambia, is enjoying utmost peace in this country, and no one, no state agency is victimizing him whatsoever. His presidential immunity is intact, and we have consistently indicated to the nation that we do not have an intention to lift his immunity.
In his address, the minister also acknowledged being in receipt of an open letter to the president by 8 opposition political parties calling for a national indaba. Mr. Mweta explains that government is ready to dialogue with the opposition without any difficulties, as their mandate in the office is anchored on an open door policy.
The call by the opposition is a call to the president, who was the first one to call upon them to dialogue on any issue of national consequence.
Meanwhile, Mr. Mwetwa has quashed allegations made by the 8 opposition political parties that there is an ongoing secret constitutional review process.
There are no secret constitutional amendments being mooted whatsoever. Those who are making those allegations are just bent on fomenting discord in the nation. But we believe that the citizens know who is telling the truth.
The information minister has also directed all town clerks to allow members of parliament to be present during the officiation of CDF projects. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Lusaka High Court has sentenced a 31-year-old Amos Dubeka of Dubeka Farm off Mumba Road in Lusaka to 6 years imprisonment with hard labor for killing his 16-year-old niece in 2021. The convict is said to have administered some unknown medicine to terminate the deceased pregnancy, but she died in the process. The state had applied to reduce its offense to manslaughter. Here's a report.
A man of Lusaka West area who gave his 16-year-old niece an unknown medicine to terminate a pregnancy has booked himself a 6 years jail term in the correctional facility of Lusaka after the court found him guilty of manslaughter. 33-year-old Amos Dubeka of Dubeka Farm off Mumba Road in Lusaka West pleaded guilty to 1 count of manslaughter before the Lusaka High Court. He is said to have committed the offense when he was 31 years old. Facts before court indicates that on the material day, the 7th of March 2021, around 07 hours, the convict requested the deceased Joyce Dubeka to assist him clean the pottery. Whilst there, he informed her that he would help her terminate her pregnancy if she was willing. The deceased is said to have agreed to the offer, and she was given some unknown medicine, but a few minutes later she collapsed. Facts before court further indicates that the convict tried to lift her but got no response. He was then convinced that she had died because efforts to resuscitate her proved futile. Panic and afraid that he would be blamed for her death, he immediately got a knife, cut her throat, and concealed the body in a sack and threw it in a pit latrine within the family farm. The matter was reported to Lucia Police Post. A detective, Katongo, visited the crime scene and took the body of the deceased to the University Teaching Hospital, awaiting post-mortem. On March 9, 2021, Dr. Himwenze, a state forensic pathologist, conducted a post-mortem examination on the body of the deceased. The cause of the death was found to be a sharp force trauma on the neck due to assault. On March 11, 2021, the accused was arrested and charged for the offense of murder, contrary to Section 200, Chapter 87 of the Laws of Zambia. But the offense was reduced to manslaughter, as the convict unlawfully caused the death of Joyce Dubeka. In his mitigation this morning, Friday, the convict pleaded with the court for lenience. In passing judgment, the court took note that the convict was a first offender who was remorseful for his action and was living with the trauma of knowing that he was responsible for the death of a family member. A 6-year jail sentence has been passed on him effective the date of arrest. Miriam Kaemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
A private lawyer offering pro bono legal service to Nalukwi Akafekwa, the alleged killer of 10-year-old Chikondi Banda, has failed to show up to represent his client Friday morning. When the matter came up for trial, the state informed Lusaka High Court Judge Mwapebowa that they were ready to proceed with 14 witnesses present to testify, but however noted that the lawyer representing the accused was not before court. Judge Bowa has expressed displeasure over the council's conduct to abscond for court session and avoid representing his client. This is in a matter in which a 24-year-old Nalukwi Akafekwa of Lusaka's garden compound is accused of murdering 10-year-old Chikondi Banda after picking him up from school on March 17, 2023. More in this report.
A 24-year-old man of Lusaka's garden compound is accused of murdering 10-year-old Chikondi Banda after picking him up from school on March 17, 2023 was on Friday morning, abandoned by his private lawyers who offered pro bono legal service to him. Nalukwi Akafwika was left to wonder this morning why his counsel failed to show up with no explanation when the matter came up for commencement of trial, with the prosecution indicating to the court that they were ready to proceed with 14 state witnesses already lined up. The non-availability of the defense counsel this morning forced the court to adjourn the case to a later date. Despite adjourning the case, Lusaka High Court Judge Mwapeowa expressed displeasure over counsel's conduct, stating that the defense was aware of the trial date but chose not to show up. Judge Wowa said the private lawyers placed themselves on record to offer pro bono legal service, and emphasis was made to all private lawyers that had accepted to offer the service to always avail themselves in the full duration of the session. In this matter, the 24-year-old accused pleaded not guilty to one count of murder. According to a statement that was earlier issued by the police, the accused is alleged to have murdered the boy and later dumped him in a maize field in Lusaka's Emersdale area. The police statement further indicated that the accused allegedly led the police officers where he committed the crime and also revealed that his motive was to get money from the boy's parent. Before adjourning the case, the court told the accused to decide until the next hearing date whether he intends to continue with the said lawyers or he will rely on those from the Legal Aid Board. The case comes up on the 10th of October 2023. Miriam Kaemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Maiden 91 border guards under the Department of Immigration have graduated at Geoffrey Mukoma Police Training School, Sondela in Kafue District of Lusaka Province. Speaking during the pass-out parade, Department of Immigration Director General Japhet Lishomwa directed the border guards to change the narrative that Zambia's borders are porous. And Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security, Jack Mwembu, says the first ever border recruitment comes at the right time when the country is facing increased challenges of transnational crimes. Mr. Mwembu says government will continue with the recruitment of more personnel under Immigration Department, with the further employment of 250 officers before the end of 2023. More in this report.
91 first-ever border guards have passed out at Geoffrey Mukuma Police Training School, Sondela, under the Department of Immigration after 7 months of training. Following government's approval of the new structure of the establishment in 2022, the department, among other reforms, has embarked on boosting manpower to enhance enforcement of the Immigration and Deportation Act No. 18 of 2010.
Human trafficking, police science, military tactics, field craft, weapon training and drill, first aid, communication skills, and self-defense. They bring to knowledge that the men who are successfully completing their course today had a number of challenges during their course, and the chief among them were lack of dormitories, lack of enough modern classrooms, poor provision of safe water, poor kitchen standards, and no dining hall.
Department of Immigration Director General Japhet Rishomwa has urged the border guards to be game changers in the country's manning of its borders, which spans more than 5,000 square kilometers.
You should change the narrative that our borderline is porous. After your deployment, we expect a stop to the current high illegal border crossing.
Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security Jack Mwembu says government will continue to improve the welfare of the department for effective immigration management.
I wish to assure you that as Minister of Home Affairs, I will continue, as I've always done, to lobby for more manpower and other resources which are essential in ensuring the department operates at its optimum level.
Mr. Mwembu says besides the enhancing of internal security, the recruitment and formation of the border guards post is creation of employment in the country. The pass-out also saw 10 officers awarded for exemplary performances in various aspects of the training. The maiden Sondela pass-out of border guards follows the pass-out of 347 immigration assistants in September 2023. For Camnet TV News, Afias Kaptula.
We'll take our first break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
In our quest to save nations and develop Africa, Savenda is investing in the agriculture sector so as to produce supply for both local and international markets, housing over 12,000 pullets that are nurtured and fed with our locally made stock feed that comes from our own locally grown maize and soya beans, all processed from our recently installed milling and mixing plant. Our over 95,000 layers have an output capacity of over 1,500 trays of fresh eggs per day that are carefully selected and packaged for all the leading stores and supermarkets nationwide. Our greenhouses are fitted with the latest irrigation system, and the seedlings are nurtured to ensure only healthy plants reach the fields. With our deliberate planting schedule, we are better placed to supply constantly without interruption, thus reliable. Savenda Farms is also changing lives of its dedicated workforce drawn from the local community and beyond. So the next time you think fresh and green, think Savenda Farms.
Live your dream today by playing Nawina Lotto and stand a chance to win up to 2,000 kwacha every day.
And in order to play Zambia's most trusted lottery, first make sure you have money in your mobile money account.
In order to stand a chance to win, you need to follow these steps. Step number 1, dial *388*6#. Step number 2, select option 1 to buy your ticket. Step number 3, select option 5, which is Camnet. Step number 4, buy 1 ticket for 5 kwacha, 2 tickets for 10 kwacha, or 10 tickets for 50 kwacha. Number 5, enter your mobile PIN to confirm your purchase.
After buying your ticket, you will be entered into the day's draw and a unique code will be sent to you via SMS.
Draws will be done every day right here on Camnet TV, and the winners will be announced right here on Camnet TV every day at 19 hours. Remember, the more tickets you buy, the higher chances of winning. Get busy, Iwe!
Deborah,
Have you connected to the Wi-Fi on the bus? It's fast, it's amazing. I've just downloaded my book. It's nice, Chumi.
No, I'm actually watching a reality show. He's about to propose. Oh, so sweet.
Make your trip seem short yet comfortable and safe when you use the UBZ luxurious fully air-conditioned coaches that come fitted with amazing onboard entertainment, passenger information services, coffee-making facilities and fridge for your hot and cold beverages, free and interrupted Wi-Fi for your gadgets, phone charging facilities, comfortable seats that recline to offer extra resting posture, safety seat belts, adjustable reading lights for each traveling client, and of course, clean flushing toilets for your convenience. So travel in luxury and safety with UBZ luxurious coaches. UBZ will always take you there.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
Science dark after formula, decade fatigue. That's a report I was given. Science dark, what's Ati? Science dark bossy. Ati mizako muntu. Eka nito pomuleko please. Tulina banja knife. Speta chambe ni ambo konkera. Because if I don't go to their doorsteps, the relation is a sira. Better vis-a-vis. Let me start dealing with this issue. Vis-a-vis. From a doorstep, head on.
At your doorstep. Time 11 hours to 12 hours every Monday, Wednesday and Friday. And repeats from 18 to 19 hours every Monday, Wednesday and Friday. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
Over there. You go.
Welcome back. We continue with Camnet Television main news. A researcher and agriculturalist, Oliver Bulaya, has encouraged farmers to embrace conservation farming now that government has given a weather forecast report for the forthcoming farming season. Mr. Bulaya has further urged the Ministry of Agriculture to take the information to farmers so that they make informed decisions on time. On Thursday, Minister of Green Economy Collins Nzovu informed the nation through Parliament that some parts of the country are likely to experience erratic rainfall pattern in the coming rainy season. Details in the following report.
As the world continues to grapple with the effects of climate change, an El Nino is likely to affect Zambia in the forthcoming rainy season, according to Minister responsible for Green Economy and Environment, Collins Nzovu. Mr. Nzovu informed the nation through Parliament on Thursday that the country is likely to experience erratic rainfall pattern. The minister says the rainfall pattern will largely be influenced by the El Nino and the positive Indian Ocean dipole, which have a tendency to suppress rainfall over the southern half of the country.
Much of the eastern half of the country and Kawompo district in northwestern province are likely to receive normal to below normal rainfall. Normal to above normal rainfall is projected over much of southern, western, northwestern and the northern parts of Luapula and Muchinga provinces, including Mumba districts. Researcher
and agriculture expert Oliver Bulaya wants the Minister of Agriculture to write on this report to take the information to farmers so that they make informed decisions on what kind of crops to grow.
This information must be upscaled by the Ministry of Agriculture by ensuring that they advocate climate-smart agriculture, which comes with a package of farming tillage systems that are very essential in terms of our farmers, getting into precision kind of farming. Because when farmers get into precision kind of farming, it will help them to avert, challenges that comes with extreme weather patterns. It could be floods, it could be dry spells.
Dr. Bulaya has also encouraged farmers to embrace conservative farming now that government has released this weather forecast report.
is important to upscale this information of climate smart agriculture to our farmers so that our farmers may either choose the type of crops that they may grow during this period, coupled up with a tillage system, which is very, very important. So even as El Nino will hit our country around that period, as stated by experts, it is important to understand that by then the crops are well established and farmers who do conservation tillage, because of early planting, will not be able to face, any challenges that will come with El Nino.
While drought is the main threat to food production, El Nino can also cause heavy rains, flooding, extreme hot or cold weather conditions. Vincent Piri, Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
Campaign for Female Education, Camfed Regional Programs Officer Shirley Chimbinde has called on some communities to take the lead in the fight against climate change by planting trees. Speaking at a sensitization meeting held at Kanyonyo Resource Center Friday morning, Mr. Chimbinde says schools conducting debates on climate change is also one way for children to join the fight against climate change. The Campaign for Female Education is one of the programs that has taken a lead role in conservation and climate change campaign. More in this report.
While climate change is accelerating, there is still a lot that people can do to combat its effects. In regards to that, Campaign for Female Education, CAMFED, has embarked on sensitization activities in schools by conducting debates where Tungi Combined Secondary School won the competition among the 8 schools participated. Speaking to Camnet News in Mungu, Regional Program Officer Shirley Chimbinde has called on some communities to take lead in the fight against climate change.
CAMFED is a Campaign for Female Education organization that supports girls to go to school and also empowers the young women. So through its empowerment to the young women, we have what we call agriculture guides. Agriculture guides, they're empowered with the skills on agriculture. So as CAMFED, those agriculture guides, they are trained by the Ministry of Agriculture officials.
Both acting Mungu Central Block Extension Officer under the Ministry of Agriculture, Muyunda Kabika, and the Agriculture Guide Officer, Nasrele, echoed the need for community to take part in the fight against climate change.
We are appealing for a lot of stakeholders, like a lot of interventions which are coming from our stakeholders like CAMFED, by involving, starting from the grassroots, like peoples, to have this knowledge. We are having low yields as compared to the expected yield because of the climate change.
We go for community outreach, training community members, community farmers on how to become climate smart.
Representing other participants, Bishop Ngombo said the debate was an eye-opener, especially on issues of climate change.
I really appreciate such that I found myself here at the debate where we're looking at climate change, one of the toppest issues that which is affecting the global at large. Something such that this global climate change can actually come to an end at the issue of being suppressed.
Among other activities CAMFED is involved in is activism with regard to climate change, conducting community sensitization meetings where effects of climate change are discussed, farm demonstration on how to practice smart agriculture, and tree planting in schools. Mosia Wakavira reporting for Camnet News in Mungu, Western Province.
Central Province Permanent Secretary Meona Mwanakampwe says the Farmer Input Support Program FISP in Central Province is going on well as 96% of the beneficiary list has been cleaned so far. The Permanent Secretary adds that more than 37% of farmers who received authority to deposit document have successfully deposited their farmer contribution of 400 kwacha. He has since warned farmers to desist from sharing farming inputs. The Permanent Secretary was speaking at a media briefing in Kabwe. More in the following report.
Central Province is the agriculture hub of Zambia. Thus, timely distribution of farming inputs under FISP is key in reducing household food insecurities. For Central Province, strides towards the FISIP implementation process have been made.
Central Province has a total number of registered farmers to the tune of 162,711. And out of that, the cleaning exercise has been ongoing, and we have cleaned, as of today, up to 161,712. I wish to state that more than 37% of our farmers who are given authority to deposit have deposited the monies or their 400 kwachas in the government account. The agro dealers that will be identified will be agro dealers that will have inputs readily available, and therefore we do not expect to hear in the wind what we were hearing previously, that farmers were sharing inputs of fertilizers in medals.
Mr. Mwanakampwe also called on civil servants to take advantage of the Zambia Emergency Food Production Facility program being piloted in Central and Lusaka provinces to acquire farming inputs.
The Central Province has been given a total number of close to 22,000 beneficiaries. Maybe my clarion call would be to call upon all the citizens of Central Province to take note and participate in this well-meant program that Mr. President has brought closer to the people, civil servants, those that were abusing FISIP fertilizer. Now you have something that you cannot abuse. Go for it. Go and contribute 5,000. Government gives you 5,000. Then we are good to run.
The Permanent Secretary further gave an update on the performance of the Food Reserve Agency in Central Province.
We are below target by 29,000 metric tons. Our provincial target was 40,000 metric tons. So this shows you that cumulatively, the province, yes, has the grain. But if we were to talk about the grain that we had earmarked to purchase this year, we are below target by 29,000 metric tons.
Helen Witty reporting from Kabwe, Central Province.
We'll take our second and final break. We'll have more in international news and sports news after the break.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
Are you planning to marry or get married? Contact the Camnet media team for a professional capturing of your big day in life. Let your relatives, friends and the nation join you in celebrating your big day on television. Just at a manageable fee, Camnet Television will cover and transmit your wedding on your channel of choice. Contact the marketing department on mobile number. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
I give my love to heaven home.
Welcome back. And now in foreign news, the Senegalese authorities have upheld the ban on TikTok, demanding the company sign an agreement for the creation of a mechanism to remove accounts. Communication Minister Musa Boka Thiam announced this at a recent press conference, noting ongoing discussions with TikTok. The ban on TikTok was imposed in August amid the arrest of opposition leader Osman Sonko, citing the app's use for distributing hateful and subversive messages, posing a threat to the nation's stability. A power struggle between Sonko and President Macky Sall had previously led to violent protests in June impacting Senegal's reputation as a stable democracy in West Africa. Here's a roundup of international news for more.
Senegal's government has refused to lift a ban on TikTok, demanding the company sign an agreement for the creation of a mechanism to remove accounts. Communications Minister Moussa Bokar Thiam told a press conference on Thursday that the authorities are in ongoing discussions with TikTok. Senegal blocked access to the social media app in August, following the arrest of opposition leader Ousmane Sonko. Authorities said the platform was being used to distribute hateful and subversive messages that threatened the nation's stability. The government has requested better platform regulation and questioned TikTok on its algorithm and data protection. In June, the country was rocked by violent demonstrations due to a power struggle between Sonko and President Macky Sall, damaging its reputation as West Africa's most stable democracy.
Algerian authorities have announced the tightening of health measures at border crossings to avoid the spread of bedbugs, which have recently invaded French cities. The ministry, in accordance with various authorities, activated the health vigilance system to prevent bedbug infiltration. According to the ministry, the procedure includes health monitoring and disinfecting of aircraft, ships and means of land transportation in the event of a threat noticed by employees of border health control centers. Algerian health minister denied on Tuesday the detection of bedbugs in the North African country. Bedbugs have invaded French cities, raising concerns among Algerians about the possibility of the insect transmission in their country, given the heavy traffic between the two countries. On Tuesday, the French health minister urged the public not to panic about the spread of the bedbugs. The bedbug infestation comes as Paris is preparing to host the 2024 Olympic Games.
For days, Millicent Koyoni and her family have been watching Kenyan police and forest rangers setting her neighbours' homes on fire across the valley from where she lives. She's wondering if her home will be next. The government says people here are living illegally in a forest reserve. Then security officers arrive. The police chief says we will not leave a single house here.
I feel awful. I have nowhere else to go. They're not respecting anyone's rights. They're just burning houses.
Government eviction guidelines say residents should be compensated and given 3 months' notice. This happened in minutes. And it's a similar story all the way down the valley. Community leaders say more than 160 homes have been destroyed in the last week. Rangers have beaten people and thousands are being made homeless. The Environment Ministry didn't respond to our request for comment. The people who lived in this home told us that their family's been here for generations, since before independence from British colonial rule. But the government says this is necessary to protect one of Kenya's most important water sources. The Mau Forest is the largest highland tropical forest in East Africa. The rainfall caught here feeds more than a dozen rivers and 6 major lakes. An estimated 10 million people depend on it. Down on the plains, farmers and herders have been struggling with reducing water levels for years. Scientists say that's because more than a quarter of the forest has been destroyed since the 1990s, mainly by growing human settlements. Last week, President William Ruto said the government will regenerate it with help from foreign donors, and so the people have to go.
Those who left voluntarily, we will relocate them. But those who are still in the forest now, sort yourselves out very fast and leave, because we are going to put a fence.
Now in sports news tonight, Zambia assistant coach Florence Mwila says the Copper Queens remain firmly in the hunt to defend the COSAFA title despite a goalless draw with Mozambique in the opener on Thursday. Mwila says she is impressed with the performance of her team, considering that most of the girls are making their senior national team debut. She says the girls seemingly lacked confidence in the first half, but that they improved in the second half. Mwila says she is hopeful that her team will perform better in the next game because the players have gained the confidence. The Copper Queens face Angola in their second Group B match at 15:30 hours on Sunday.
Even as we were approaching the game, we knew that it was not going to be an easy one, but not the result that we expected though. Looking at the team that we have about 15 new players that are coming in. Some of them are playing international matches for the first time, so I'm sure in the first half, if you saw in the first half, we were more on the lower side because there was that issue. In my opinion, it was an issue of the confidence part of it, but then as the game was moving on, I think people were breaking out of their shells, and that's a good sign that the new players are able to withstand the pressure that comes in. Definitely when you're defending champions, there's always pressure because everyone will come prepared for you, but you have to work hard because you have to defend it. Defending is a priority, and grooming is another thing as well. So looking at the players that we have now, we are grooming them for the future, and as we all know, we have future assignments that are coming up with the Olympic qualifiers and the WAFCON qualifiers. So this is an opportunity to see other players. There are issues of injuries on those professional players that we all know there could be injuries, so we will know where to fall back to in case of an injury. There's no pressure of being Zambian. Actually, there's pride of being Zambian because for a long time we've been the underdogs, but then people are able to see that women's football in Zambia is the one now. We are a force to reckon with now. So there's no pressure, there's pride actually. Proud to be Zambian.
And still in sports news, the Football Association of Zambia, FAZ, has handed over 12,000 balls to the Ministry of Education as part of the FIFA Football for Schools project, which will see the balls distributed in schools. FAZ General Secretary Ruben Kamanga, who handed over the balls to Minister of Education Douglas Yakalima, says the ministry will spearhead the project in conjunction with the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Art. Siakalima was happy that girls' football will also be promoted to complement the achievements attained by various national teams led by the Zambia women's national team, who made their debut at the FIFA Women's World Cup. FAZ Technical Director Lyson Zulu says the distribution was the result of the launch of the School Football League under the FIFA Grassroots project in 2021. To end Camnet television news, the headlines once again. Miners at KCM's #1 shaft who were sent on forced leave call for government's intervention. Opposition PF members of parliament demand the resignation of the second Speaker of the National Assembly for incompetence. Government refutes claims it will lift former President Edgar Lungu's immunity. In international news, Senegal declines to lift TikTok ban. And in sports news, FAZ hands over 12,000 balls to the Ministry of Education. Our Camnet verse of the day tonight comes from the book of John 12, verse 36. Believe in the light while you have the light, so that you may become children of light. When he had finished speaking, Jesus left and hid himself from them. Thank you for watching Camnet Television News. I'm Jeffrey Ziambo. Good night.